Okay, so in this video, I am going to show you about this page here, and I'm gonna read or gonna talk to you about what is Bash, as you can probably see in the title and or description. Okay, so this is a page of my site, JBoysFC, and this is in Terminal 101. So so you can go check it out, read it for yourself. I'm gonna go over this mostly, or some of it. I'm gonna leave some of it for you to read. I'm gonna go over the gist of it, so that way you know what it means, but you might not necessarily like you might want to learn more about it, and this is why you should head over to it. But you should probably watch this video first. You could probably read it right now if you just wanted to get everything, or if you already knew the basics behind Bash and you want to learn more. But if you just want to sit back and relax, okay, and listen to me go over what Bash is, take a little break from from like reading about, your terminal or Unix or Linux and all that stuff, because they're mostly related. And you want to learn what Bash is, so just read this, just listen to this, and take a little break from what you're doing. Then after this, head over here and read this. And if you're trying to get backlinks, you can leave a comment down here. Using Discord, you can thumbs up it, or you can tweet this out, like it, or share it in any of these other ways. Okay. So, what is Bash? So, the $1,000,000 question. What is Bash? Okay? So, Bash is a language, and it is not like an English, French, Dramatic, or Romantic language, as we might think of today. And it is not like Arabic, it's not just different letters. It has the same, like, English characters or French or German characters, except it's very differently spoken than these ones. Okay, so Bash is a programming language, and a programming language is, a language that a computer reads. It is not just a programming language, it is also a language that you can just do commands to interact in the shell. And if you don't know what the shell is, you can read my Unix lesson, or or my Linux lesson, because I also go over that. Okay, you can just head over to them by going to Terminal 101. I'll have a description in the link, and also you can just go to JBoysFC and scroll down, and go in the toolbar and find Terminal, and then from there, that's where all the great ones are. And Bash is like partway down there. So each one of these commands that I teach you in my lessons, as you can write in Terminal 101, like cd, or let's do ls space dash l. See, this isn't like English. It isn't like, or French, it's not je ne sais. It's actually, it's not translated. Like, what this would do is it shows you list everything, but it's the long version of the list. So it's sort of like a shortened English language of some things to do. There are ways that you can translate it into a speaking language, but that gets even more confusing, and the pronunciations are totally weird. So it's just a lot easier to just type it, use it, and just speak with English. Although you can call yourself, like I call myself, bilingual, or if you know other programming languages, trilingual. So you can say you have all these languages, because they're as hard to learn as another language, maybe even harder, but they are what you would call, people tend to learn one, they learn all of them. They just start to learn one, and then you start to learn more and more and more, and it helps you with your, you can learn it by yourself, but that's really hard, so it's easier to just go to like Terminal 101, like my page, and I have like all these lessons. I'll probably end up doing like Python lessons and C# lessons, and maybe lessons at MS-DOS, but I don't really like MS-DOS because it's not as good as Unix. and Bash. So be tuned for those, and head over to Terminal. So I have the link. And so so Bash is a language that runs in not Unix, it also runs in Linux and Manix, which is the other Unix-like operating system that doesn't descend directly from Unix, like Linux. And Linux doesn't descend directly, so we call it a Unix-like. Otherwise, Mac runs on the underhood OS Unix. Okay? I talk about that later in I think both in Unix and Linux lessons. So head over there. I also have videos on those too if you want to take a longer break. If you're learning a program. So it's Unix and Linux is what it runs in, and it uses all those commands like I was showing you before. So if you have Mac OS 10, it runs on the underhood OS as Unix. It runs on Unix. That's how I can go ahead and open up Terminal here, and I can use the same lessons, or I can use Flink, which I probably should do another video on, or Flink list for you, and that shows up a bunch more stuff, and it's good for demonstrating the shell. So it's a language for both Unix and Mac OS and Linux, and then all the other ones like BNS I think is run with the underhood OS, Sun OS, Solar OS, Mac OS Surface. Although if you don't use Mac OS 10, which is what the X stands for, it's Roman numerals, if you use like Mac OS 9, which is really old, that's like a decade old, it won't have this because they only included this when they said it was Linux-like when they were competing for the Linux title back in history. This is more history stuff. If you want to learn more about it, comment down on my blog, and I'll be sure to do a little blog. Or if you don't, I still might, on the history of back of this stuff. I'll probably do a video on it too. So Unix it's a language. You can use it in your terminals, in your different terminal applications. It does not run MS-DOS, and if you want to learn it, it's good for if you're dealing with Linux, Unix, basically all the major OSs. By major, there's probably a few out there that I don't know about. I usually just stick to Unix-based OSs. I don't really run Windows that much. I run Linux though, and Manix, because I can still do the default Bash. You can install other languages on here. You might be able to install Bash on MS-DOS. Don't say I'm wrong, because I said you couldn't and you could, or I said you could and you couldn't. I'm not saying either or. So don't quote me on that. But you can quote me that it runs in Unix and Linux, and Unix and Linux can run other things, and it runs with Mac, except it's behind the Mac GUI. Sorry if this is a little confusing here. So, oops. Sorry about that. And so, if you check out Terminal, you can learn more about the Bash, Nano, Linux, Unix. It will really helpful. If you ever put comments down there, those will really help me. If you ever have a question, you can shoot me an email. Shoot me. I'm slurring my words. Shoot me an email at onemac1man@gmail.com. That's gmail.com if that was a little slurred for you. It's ONEMACONEMAN@gmail.com. So you can have it to here. It'll be in the description. Terminal 101. This is the blog type version, running within my other blog. It's really a category, but the way I have it set up, it acts like a blog of its own. And it'll teach you like PWD, that's Bash. Say hello world, they teach you the say command, that's Bash. Let's see, Spotlight teach you find, that's Bash. The errors, that's Bashish, I should say, but with Bash. Nano, that's an application, Bash, ergo. Simple programs, that's has some Bash in it. Sudo, that's a Bash word. File owners, I think I teach you Bash. And there, most of the stuff I teach you Bash, I'm teaching you with the Mac OS terminal or Linux terminal, not an MO-DOS terminal, as you could call it. I think they have their own name for it. I'm not a big Windows fan. I'm not against Windows, I just like the Unix and Unix-like OSs. So, please subscribe. or comment to wherever you are and give thumbs up because I'm posting this all over the web. And please check out the blog. Click the links below. The blog is really good for you. It'll help you learn about computers. I try to make it so that if you just got out of cave, if you were just born, or you need to speak English and have a certain amount of comprehension, you know, if you have comprehension, if you were the most stupid man on earth, you should, and you know, you weren't trying to pull off a prank, you know, you could understand this. So, I try to break everything down. Sorry, these might look a little small, but they're actually a lot. Well, that one's a lot, but I mean, these might look like 3 paragraphs, but I have it jam-packed full, and it covers everything there, and it goes really in-depth. So I would really recommend if you head over here. This is me from jwoodoc.com. We will see you later. Option